Hi, it's been a while. If you're new here, my name's Amanda and I'm a farmer in Michigan. I've had this video edited and ready to post for about 8 months and just have never pulled the trigger. So I'm gonna post today, and it's gonna be hard for some people to watch, but I need to share it. I sat at a breakout session this weekend listening to mental health and why we need to care about it as farmers. One of the speakers said, I went to my dad and I told him, we change X or we sell the cows. And if you've heard my story lately, you know that resonated. So here's what happens if you say, if we don't change X, we sell the cows, and it doesn't change and you sell the cows. So if you've watched some of my other videos, we are 8 months into the recovering dairy farmer lifestyle, and it's been a long process. We knew it was coming for a while, and this series of videos is going to walk through a little bit of it and some of the emotional aspects that went into it and some of the other stuff. But yeah, enjoy. And if it's hard to watch, I'm sorry, but I hope it also makes you know that you are not alone, that your mental health matters, that you belong here, and you're worth fighting for, even if it means upending your entire operation, upending your entire life. Change is hard, but as farmers, as people, as humans, we have to do what's right for us in the end, even if that makes some really tough calls along the way. Hi, May is Mental Health Month, and so in honor of that, today on the last day of May, I am going to share a compilation of some videos I've been taking since the end of last summer, some things I've struggled with, and it shows a little bit of the impact that farming can have on our mental health. It won't be easy for me to watch back because the first set is taken when I was on a very bad day, and it's pretty raw and real, so it's going to be pretty minimal editing of the series so that I don't have to watch it 18 times and go through that day again. So it's probably going to be hard for some other people to watch too, especially those people that know me really well, because they're not going to like seeing where I was. But I want to share it because I think it's important to talk about the impacts of mental health in agriculture, and I want other people to know that they're not alone. Whether you're a dairy farmer, a mom, someone in agriculture, whatever you are, you're not alone. We all have struggles, we all have bad days, and we can't do it all. And this video series will be a lot of me struggling with the reality that I can't do it all. So I will thank you for watching it. If you make it all the way to the end, it will be, it's going to be it's going to take some time to get through them all, because it goes through about 6 months worth of videos, taken on different days as I worked through some different things, and the end result is kind of sad, but we'll talk about that another day. We'll save that for a different day. Today we will just go through a series of why we're ending where we are, and hopefully that's a positive note for us, for my family, for our farm, for my kids. Hopefully we're ending on a positive note in this series. I have a sleeping baby on my lap right now merging hay, so I'm a little distracted by that, but overall, I just hope you enjoy. Well, you probably won't enjoy it, so that's the wrong word, but I hope you take something from this series of videos, whether that's that you're not alone, whether it's that you need to go check on your strong friends that act like they're okay, because I will admit that while I struggled through all of this, a lot of my family and friends had no idea that I was processing a lot of the stuff that I was. Or maybe you're the person processing it silently, and you will take away one of the biggest lessons I've learned in the last year is that internalizing it doesn't help. If we get it out and we talk about it, that does help some. So I hope everybody has somebody in their lives that they can talk to about the mental health things that you're going through. And if you don't have someone, I hope you can find someone. Reach out to somebody, reach out to a counselor, reach out to a friend. There's a lot of good options out there, and we need to take advantage of them, because we all have value in this world. Whether that's we all have value in our jobs, we have value in our lives, you have value to the people that are around you. You're important and you matter, and I hope you never forget that. So today is September 19th, 2023, and I am recording a video that I'm not going to be able to share with you for probably a year. It'll probably be next September before I can share this. But today we spent the day running the numbers on what our life would look like without cows. I didn't expect it to be this emotional. If I'm honest, I'm the push behind no more cows. And I still sit here and I'm in tears thinking about life with no more cows. I say that I won't be able to share this until next September, because that's when, if we make this decision, that's when it'll happen, a year from now. We signed a 7-year lease when we put our robots in 6 years ago. So we have a year left. When that year is up, we need to make a decision, and it's a big decision that we've got a lot of feelings over, obviously. We've had a grade A permit for a lot of years. We've milked cows here on this location for a lot of years. There's a lot of pride to the fact that we're still in the dairy industry, despite all the curveballs that a changing industry has thrown our way. There's a lot of pride in our genetics. My great-grandpa was AIing cows that many years ago, and we've just strived to have a really nice herd of cows, and that'd be something we'd walk away from. But at the end of the day, we're gonna have to pick what's best for all the families on this farm, and most days that's probably a life without cows. And so this series of videos, whenever I finally post them all together, it'll be after we've made a final decision and we've put everything into place for that decision and everything that will entail. This video series will walk through what it's like to exit the dairy industry in all of its heartbreak and joy and everything in between. Or I mean, it could go the other way. Maybe I post this video series as a, hi, we've decided to stay in the dairy industry even when we've discussed heavily getting out. And obviously there's a lot of reasons why we'd love to stay in the dairy industry, and a lot of reasons why we're thinking about transitioning out. My grandpa is a large factor in this decision. Even though he is no longer an owner, he still plays a big factor, plays a big role. Labor is another issue. Changing markets is a factor. Small children and changing lives are a factor. And I've been an owner-operator in the dairy industry for 13 years. And there's been some highs. I've accomplished some things that, gosh, I never would have imagined. But there's been some lows. And those lows are low. And moving forward, we just have to take everything into account. So to start with the number one reason we're looking to transition out, which would be my grandpa. Sorry, there was a liner splacking. I couldn't tell if it was my phone or the liner. So my grandpa will be 84 this spring, and he's had some health issues in the last year, and it's really slowed him down. Our operation primarily functions on my dad, myself, and my grandpa. That's who goes to the fields. That's who does most of the cow work. My grandpa and I feed cows together every single morning. And so as we know that he is slowing down and we need to change the operations of things, the easiest thing to change is the cows. I need to get myself into a position where I am in the fields more, where we're all collectively in the fields more. And even with the robots, it's still 10, 11 o'clock in the mornings before we can go to the fields. So that's playing a factor in everything. We're not at a stage where we want to transition out of cash cropping or transition to less cash cropping. So, that labor, that direction isn't going to change. We can't pull back on what we're farming. We can pull back on the cows. The robot lease expiring is kind of the perfect opportunity to pull back on the cows. So we need to take that into consideration. Labor, if you're in the agriculture industry, even if you're not in the agriculture industry, labor is harder and harder to find. The labor that's out there, it's just harder to find labor. We are very lucky right now to have a full-time employee who is reliable and dependable and has been here for over a year. But you still, you never know when they're gonna walk out. If she walked out tomorrow with everything we have coming up for harvest, we'd be in a bad position. And to replace her in our area would be very difficult. So that labor's a factor in that sense. I say that we're not in a position where we want to transition out of cash cropping, mostly because of the markets. The markets for cash cropping are better than the markets for dairy on a 5-year average. It's been some pretty low lows for dairy since we've put the robots in, and while right now it's picked up a little bit, you're always kind of asking yourself when it's going to drop back out. Maybe it's not, but even if the market has stabilized, there is a push from a lot of different factors. The small farms don't have a place in the dairy industry, and as much as I have fought that and refused to believe that it was happening, it is. It is harder to get our milk shipped. It's harder to get supplies. It's just harder to be a small farm anymore than it was 10 years ago. So that's the
fact that in 10 years we don't know if we will have a milk market plays into our decision, because why are you gonna keep putting money into a dying industry? And small farms are a dying industry, at least in this area. I just want to add that I'm not here to argue with anyone over whether small farms have a place or not. That's my opinion from what I have seen in the industry, from my experiences. That's my belief. If you don't believe the same thing, that's okay. But that's my belief, and so that's playing a factor into my decision. Do small farms who are niche marketing have a place in the industry? Absolutely. But that is not something that any of us have any interest in doing. Part of our co-op rules are you have to not fully, but all of your milk has to go to your co-op. So for us, we would lose our co-op if we niche marketed, which would mean that all of our milk would have to be then processed by us and marketed by us. And the additional infrastructure, the amount of milk that I would then be moving that way, just all the details are not something I'm passionate about. And I don't believe that if you don't, that's something that you have to have a big passion for to do. So for those reasons, we are not interested in the niche marketing segment of small dairies. But what does interest me is having time to find something I'm passionate about again, because the burnout in the dairy industry is crazy intense, and I wasn't prepared, and I'm burnt out. I'm really burnt out, and that burnout has caused me to lose the passion that made me pick this industry in the first place. And so without that passion, it's really hard to stay. And that's probably, at the end of the day, the biggest reason that we have to talk about transitioning out, because I don't know how to get the passion back. I don't know how to not be burnt out. So I can't, for my family, for myself, I can't continue life like this. For my cows, I can't continue life like this, because without that passion, I'm not giving them everything they deserve. Hi, it has been, today is September 26th, so it's been about a week since I recorded the first video in this series, and I don't have a lot of time this morning. I'm headed into a meeting, but I just wanted to hop on really quick and just record where we're at and how we're feeling. So we're still waiting to hear back from the company that our lease is through, just on what that process looks like at the end of the lease, where it kind of goes from there. And then mostly I'm not sleeping from the stress of it. Last night I was up for about 2 hours in the middle of the night just from the stress. I have cried every day, just a barrage of mixed emotions. And today during my workout, the lady said, I don't pray for an easy life. I pray for the strength to get through the hard things. And I think that's really kind of where we're at. I am just praying that God knows which decision is the right one for us in this situation, and we just have to really lean on that, and that he's going to show us which way we're supposed to go. And there's not a right way or a wrong way. it'll be okay. Like, it's no matter which way we pick, whether we keep the cows or we sell the cows, like, it's going to be okay. And I have to rest in that fact that, like, no matter how much stress I have over this and how much anxiety, yesterday I was a walking anxiety attack, and I am also in this stage of anger where I'm just mad about everything because I just have so many feelings going on. So in this stage of just confusion and stress, we just have to rest in the fact that, like, God's got it. It'll be okay. We're going to be okay. Whether we keep the cows or sell the cows, we'll be okay. Life will go on. We'll be okay. Hi guys, it is January 13th, 14th today. So it's probably like 4 or 5 months since I made the last video talking about exiting the dairy industry. I would say we are still very, very firmly in the camp of exiting. Yes, some things could happen that would make us stay in, but the likelihood of those factors falling into place is just really, really slim. So we plan to exit, I guess, in about 8 months. It has snowed like 2 feet of snow in 4 days here, and it's currently like 10 degrees with a real feel below zero. So it has been a very brutal winter, or not winter, because it's been a really light winter up until this week, but it's been a pretty brutal weekend. But even with that weather, I would say this has been the first weekend and week kind of that I've really felt joy in the barn again in months, 6 months, a year. I couldn't even really tell you the last time that I felt like I just enjoyed being out here and I enjoyed working, and kind of reflected on that tonight, like while I was doing chores, on kind of why I felt that joy this weekend, and the fact that, yeah, I'm gonna miss that joy. But I think the harsh reality is that I felt the joy this weekend because the weather was so bad and we've been snowed in. Basically, we've plowed our road like 3 times this weekend just to get the milkman in and out, but we've been snowed in. We haven't gone anywhere, just kind of hanging out at home with the kids. They even had a snow day one day this week because it's slow enough around here and the roads were bad, and I was like, nope, we're just not gonna go to school. And I've picked them up every day by like 3 o'clock, and so we've just had really nice nights, you know, those slow mornings, because there hasn't been like this big rush to get in the fields or to go do other things. So it's just really allowed for a lot more enjoyable time in the barn, I guess. And the fact that those outside pressures have let up this weekend, and that's been what's allowed me to have joy in the barn. It shows me I do still love this industry. I love my cows. I love my farm. But as much as I love all of that, I can't control the outside world. Can't control the pressures it puts on me up here. I can't control those pressures. I can control this barn. And by letting this barn go, all of those outside pressures become a little less. So while I don't want to leave. I don't want to sell the cows. My mental health tells me something has to change. And this is the easiest thing to change most days. This is the thing that weighs the heaviest. This is, in like the world of juggling glass balls or whatever, this is the biggest one. It's the one that sucks, that can't be dropped. It can't can't be dropped. So hopefully there's not really somebody to hold that ball up with me most of the time. So hopefully if we just let the ball go. And I just I want to share this because I know that I'm not the only one that feels this way. I'm not the only one that feels the way and doesn't know how to shift, how to make it better, how to keep going. But maybe if we talk about it more, maybe if we all admit that I can't do it all. I cannot carry everything. I can't be everything to everyone. I cannot be a kick-ass dairy farmer and help my dad run the crop side and be a mom to 2 kids that deserve so much more than just what's left in my cup at the end of the day. I can't be a good wife. We can't be everything. It's okay to admit that. It's okay to move forward. It's okay if life shifts. It's okay.